Iran says that more than 700 American soldiers have fallen in this war, while America says only 7 soldiers. But the one who revealed the real secret, or the real numbers, was an American magazine that reported a major emergency at one of the largest American hospitals in Europe. At the same time, what about the map that is now being widely circulated as the map of Iran that Trump defined? Is it really possible to divide Iran into small states? What happens after appointing Khamenei's son as the new supreme leader in Iran? What are Iran's messages? Who is behind this? And why does Trump feel defeated? Today? We will reveal all these details today, but after this break. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to our new episode today, God willing, from the series of opinion episodes which we always dedicate to continuous coverage of the developments and events of this war on Iran. Today, dear viewers, I will begin by talking about the most prominent event that took place last night, which is the announcement of the new supreme leader of Iran after the assassination of Ali Khamenei. I consider this event to be one of the most important developments since the beginning of this war, a very significant event. It might sum up everything today, because it shows that all this aggression against Iran by the Epstein coalition was completely futile. It did not achieve any of the objectives of this war. So today, when the allegiance to Mojtaba Khamenei is declared, when Ali Khamenei's son is announced as the supreme leader of Iran, this has very significant implications. The first thing is that this signals that Khamenei did not die. It means the old Khamenei, who was 86 years old and whose body was worn out by illness, is gone. And now there is a new young Khamenei, 56 years old, in his place. So today, the rise of Mojtaba Khamenei has taken away the thrill of victory from Trump and from Netanyahu, who they always talk about as having achieved something when they killed the supreme leader of Iran. But the truth today is that this supreme leader of Iran did not die. Khamenei did not die. It means one Khamenei is gone and another Khamenei has come in this circle. That's the first indication. And this also leads us to something very important. When this Epstein alliance assassinated Ali Khamenei, in reality, they did not strike Iran. It did not break Iran at all. Rather, it gave Iran strength. It gave Iran a great gift. Glory be to God, because it granted Ali Khamenei the honor of martyrdom. The man, as I said, was in extreme old age, 86 years old, and his body was exhausted by chronic illness. What more could he have asked for than this honor? America and Israel have made him a hero in Iran today. A hero whose name will be written in all the history books of the Iranians, as someone who chose confrontation instead of submission and died for it. So the Epstein alliance has given him and Iran a great gift. Another indication is that appointing Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader of Iran sends signals and gives an opportunity for revenge, a chance to avenge the assassination of his father, Ali Khamenei. And this revenge may not be limited to this war alone. It may not only mean launching stronger strikes against the Epstein alliance or others, but it will continue even after this war, with new and strong decisions and fatwas. Most importantly, for example, we might witness a fatwa to develop nuclear weapons as a new deterrent for Iran, to protect the country and the Iranian people from any future aggression. So now, after this attack and this assassination, America has given every excuse for Iran to move exactly in this direction, to declare its possession of nuclear weapons. And as I mentioned to you, as they say today in China and Russia, now America has given Iran the excuses to produce this nuclear weapon. Another indication is that with this decision, Iran is declaring confrontation, because President Trump has repeatedly announced in recent days that he rejects appointing Khamenei's son as the head of Iran. He was saying that he wants a new leadership that cooperates with him, and he was saying that he wants to be the one who appoints this leadership, and he wants a new leadership that is submissive and obedient to him. But what is happening today is the opposite. Mujtaba Khamenei, the new supreme leader, this indicates that Iran has chosen confrontation and not to bow down after about 10 days of this war. Even the decision to appoint Khamenei's son as the supreme leader of Iran came according to the wishes of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and according to the wishes of the Iranian people. That means everyone was waiting for this so that the path would be paved for revenge, for resilience, and for greater confrontation. The rise of Khamenei's son was truly an event, an important event, and a historic one. And it was a strong signal that Iran is truly resilient and strong and still in control of the situation, and not as some weak-minded people claim that it is collapsing completely. The American newspaper The New York Times wrote an article today quoting American military officials saying that Iran was well prepared for this war. It said Iran was prepared in a way that neither Trump nor the American military leadership expected, and we talked about this in previous episodes. There were plans to eliminate the Iranian regime within a period not exceeding 4 days, but up until now they have failed to do so. And still today, almost 10 days after the start of this war, we see that the Iranian regime has actually become stronger and more determined, not weak or collapsing as they wanted from the beginning. Recently, in the past few days, there were statements from President Trump saying that the map of Iran will change. These statements came along with the military preparations that were taking place in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, and talk about an Iranian Kurdish force preparing to storm Iranian territory. Strangely, along with these statements, this exact map that you are seeing now was spreading on social media, which represents Israel's dream in the region. So notice how the plan was to divide Iran into a group of states, and I will always talk about this state in the West. There was an old concept that came right after the end of World War II, and a concept appeared in a group of Zionist books stating that the major Islamic countries must be weakened and fragmented so that they do not emerge as a regional power. When they study the history of countries, the history of emirates and the Islamic emirates that existed throughout history, they always find them. They used to start from specific regions like Persia, the Turks, the Arabian Peninsula, the Levant, Egypt, and Morocco. These countries have always formed empires, so the idea is that these countries should never be allowed to rise. That's how they see it. There must always be an enemy created for them at the borders to keep them occupied with this enemy, and they must be divided into small states or threatened with such division. That's why when they set these current borders for the Turks, who did they keep them occupied with? With the Kurds, with the Armenians, and occupied with these islands that are occupied by Greece, which are just a few meters away from its shores. And we see that Sudan was taken from Egypt, South Sudan was taken from it, and today Egypt is made to only think about the Nile's water. We also see Morocco, which they made enter into wars against Algeria. Its economic and military strength was drained for many years, while Europe was uniting, developing, building its economy, and building its infrastructure, and so on. During a period of prosperity that the world was experiencing at that time, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s of the last century, Morocco was draining its capabilities in this war. And alongside this conflict over the Sahara and the eastern borders with Algeria, we find the Levant, which of course, after they divided it into 4 or 5 small states, as it exists today. There was another plan to divide Syria along Kurdish, Alawite and Druze sects. Then we also find Iran, the land of the Persians, which, when it was engaged in wars of attrition against Iraq or in Yemen, or when it was weak, posed a threat only to Saudi Arabia. They used to let it do whatever it wanted, but when it became strong, or started to grow stronger, and began to develop very rapidly in missile weaponry, hypersonic missiles, and defense industries, and so on. And it started to guarantee the commercial and economic independence of the Eurasian region, meaning it is the one that today ensures the commercial connection between Russia and India, and between China and Europe. So what did they say when they saw this? They said this system must fall immediately. First, because it is expanding. Second, because it is developing. Third, because it is a sovereign country that is not subordinate to us. And fourth, because it forms the main link between the major BRICS countries, India, Russia, and China. So what did they say? They said, now this country must be dismantled. According to this map, notice that a part is taken by Turkmenistan, a part is taken by Azerbaijan, and a part is taken by Kurdistan to form the dream of a Kurdish state. Another part is where one or two small Arab states are formed, of course under your control, and then another part is where the state of Balochistan is formed. Then, in the oil-rich region, they will form a small state called Khuzestan, while Iran is left in the middle, without oil, surrounded and without any access to the Gulf. And everyone knows this. If a country doesn't have a sea outlet, it will always have limited capabilities and won't develop in a way that allows it to become a regional power. So the dangerous thing is implementing this plan on the ground, forming these borders and these new small states. This can never be achieved unless there is intervention in the region, a destructive internal conflict that might last for 10 or 20 years or even longer. This is the real plan, to completely drain the region's capabilities, to drag the Middle East into endless security tensions that will keep the region preoccupied. All these countries in the Middle East will be caught up in these wars, this fighting, and the plan to divide Iran. This plan has existed for decades, of course, but it wasn't a top priority before. When did it become the main focus? When did Iran make peace with its neighbors? We discussed this before. When Iran established strong relations with Iraq and the Gulf countries and reconciled with Saudi Arabia, it was no longer a threat to the region. It stopped preoccupying these countries. When Iran also started playing a major role in the BRICS group as a main transit hub in Eurasia and as one of the global south countries expected to become a major regional power. Therefore, this will ensure that it overcomes all these sanctions and develops significantly on its own, without relying on America or the West. But is it possible for this plan to be achieved? Absolutely not, because first of all, Iran has prepared for all scenarios. Any attempt at a ground attack or a separatist attack will be met with a crushing response from Iran, just like today when there was talk about the Kurds and the Kurdish forces. Secondly, all the countries in the region, including Russia and China, know this plan very well, and they will never allow it to happen. That's why today they are providing Iran with sufficient intelligence support, sending its satellite images and so on. After China announced 2 days ago its support and solidarity with Iran in this war, Russian President Putin also came out today and stated clearly that Russia stands with and supports Iran in this war. This Russian and Chinese support did not come openly. They want to make sure that it's impossible to overthrow the Iranian regime, that it's impossible to change Iran's map. And Russia and China are the biggest beneficiaries of this war because they are determined today to inflict a very serious strategic defeat on America. If Trump includes among the objectives of this war reimposing American dominance over countries, the countries of the global south, meaning as the world's police, in this war, the opposite is happening, I believe, as is clear today. American dominance is being broken. And let's not forget this American military attrition in this war, which China is benefiting from, and Russia is benefiting from today as well. The American conservative magazine said that the US military has now reached a point where it can no longer contain these countries like Russia and China because of this political attrition. It needs to rest. Regarding the American stockpile of weapons, it's said that America's stockpile of weapons was already limited, and now it will need many years to replenish this stockpile that has been depleted in this war, which America has consumed in this war against Iran. Meaning now, if America wants to continue this war for more days, it will need to bring stockpiles from other regions, like Europe for example, and therefore this poses a risk to America. That means if a major conflict starts in Europe, for example, America won't find this stockpile, and Europe won't find anyone to send it ammunition. Today, all the signs indicate that a major war is coming, which means America will definitely need this ammunition. Also today we see another development that confirms that Iran has indeed chosen confrontation, because the head of the Atomic Energy Organization in Iran, Mohammad Eslami, sent a strong message today. He said that Iran will continue to develop nuclear technologies without interruption. This means the Iranian nuclear program will now continue without interruption, even despite this war. And this probably means that they intend to raise the enrichment levels to very high levels. Pay close attention. If this war continues any longer, as Trump says, for a few more weeks, they will announce that they possess nuclear weapons, and they will surprise the world with this decision. Now, the war is ongoing, and no one knows exactly what is happening inside these Iranian nuclear reactors. No one can guarantee that Iran is not currently making these missiles. The war hides great surprises, as I said, the longer this war continues. Today as well, there was a shocking report published by Military Watch magazine, which specializes in military reports. It said that the Landstuhl Medical Center, located in Germany, is the largest American hospital in Europe. It said that this center is preparing to receive a large number of wounded coming from this conflict in Iran. It said that this hospital has taken very urgent measures due to the large number of injuries arriving at the hospital. Among these measures, for example, is that it issued an urgent call for blood donation. Also, among these measures, the hospital converted its maternity ward into a center for treating the wounded. These steps indicate that there is a major state of emergency in this hospital. This hospital, which is specialized, is now receiving American wounded coming from this conflict in Iran. Therefore, when America says today that its death toll is 7 soldiers, know that it is hiding the real numbers. The Iranians say that American losses have reached 700 soldiers so far, and of course America knows this. In every war it has fought, whether in Vietnam, Iraq or Afghanistan, it has always hidden the real numbers of losses and casualties, and so on. The reality is that Iran is still in a position of strength, and it is still ready to engage in a long-term war of attrition. And it's clear that Iran is very well prepared. It's the most ready to fight this war. In contrast to the Israeli entity, Russia and China are clearly providing it with satellite images that reveal the locations of targets with high accuracy. This enables it to strike targets precisely. So now we are witnessing a new phase. What is this phase? It's a phase where Iran is under the leadership of a new supreme leader. The name Khamenei has not yet ended in Iran. So we will see what the coming days will bring and what surprises will happen in the next few hours. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.